Hello, hello, hello. I know. Y'all, it has been since March. I usually do like a little opener or whatever, but we have way too much to talk about, so I'm just going to dive right in. I'm back, y'all. Actually, I've never really gone anywhere. I feel like you've heard this story before. If you've listened to the Genuine Life podcast, you know I sometimes go on like these sabbaticals maybe, but I'm back officially, and one thing I've learned is it's super important to take your time, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. And that's where I am right now, just very zen Jen. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the podcast, but I want to kick it with y'all for a minute. Okay. Yeah. So y'all know I don't edit things. So I was grabbing my beverage because I was getting ready to tell you to grab yours, and I just knocked it over and spilled it over on my phone. So yeah. Anyway, grab your beverage, grab your snacks, okay? Your girl, I am. That was coffee that I just spilled, but I also have water as well. So let's dive in. I want to kick it with y'all for a minute. How have you been? And I'm not just talking about how you're doing externally. I'm not asking how you're doing based on what people see when they see you. I want to know how you're doing, like really doing. How are you feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually? There's a lot going on right now. So, of course, I can't hear your response, but I hope it sounds a little bit like I'm good, I'm great, tired, but still pushing through. No one's, breaking my soul, that kind of vibe. If not, it's okay, right? It's okay not to be okay as long as we address it together. And I'm hoping that this podcast episode can be just a little bit of joy for you. I, on the other hand, have been doing pretty well. The last time that we connected, it was all the way back in March. I cannot believe we're already in August. A lot obviously has happened since then. Rent has gone up, gas prices have gone up, grocery store prices have gone up, and yet I still am here and grateful. And we'll talk about all of that, right? Work is great. Work is very busy still. I am actually working with interns this year. So as you most of you know, I work with early career candidates who are software engineers, typically candidates who are early in their careers, so either fresh out of college or maybe less than 3 to 4 years of industry experience. Well, this year, I'm actually working with interns, which is pretty exciting. So that has been taking some time, obviously learning as well as kind of putting what I learned into action keeps me very busy. So I've been doing that. If you have been a longtime listener of the show, you know that I was on medication at one point for depression, anxiety, and insomnia. If you are not familiar, I will give you a very brief synopsis and then I can also share the podcast episode with you. But basically, shortly after my divorce and beyond, I, just wasn't feeling right. I knew something was off. I wasn't like excited about life. Or anything really. And so I knew something had to be better than where I was. And that's where I started getting virtual therapy sessions and was prescribed medication at that time. And it worked. I felt great. Life was great. And, I was like, okay, I can start weaning off of this. I don't need this anymore. And about 2 months ago, I wouldn't say I had a mental breakdown, like nothing where I needed to like be hospitalized or anything, thank goodness, but like crying and just very dark and not I was finding myself seeping back to where I was before. Although I knew it wasn't that extreme, and this is why it is so important to journal, communicate your thoughts, and be around people who genuinely care about you because of those incidents that I had before, it was very easy for me to recognize, I'm heading back to where I was. And I knew I didn't want to go back there. So I am back on medication, and I'm very excited about that. I have felt the difference. I feel great. I feel amazing. I feel like I can think clearer, which has always been an issue or symptom rather of my depression. And so I feel great. And I've also come to the conclusion that I'm not somebody who can function without it, unfortunately. Well, no, it's not unfortunate. It is what it is, right? And so I'm back on meds. And let me just backtrack really quick. I'm so excited. I did not even introduce anything. So if you're new to the show, it's only 5 minutes in, so it's not too bad. If you are new to the Genuine Life podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. My show is dedicated really to beautiful souls and empaths like yourself who sometimes might need a dose of encouragement or just wants, to kick it with somebody cool. That's me. And so welcome to the Genuine Life podcast, where we just really come together, spread positivity, encourage one another, and just try to get through this thing called life together in the best way possible. So my name is Jennifer Nicole. All of my people call me Jenn, so you're welcome to do that as well. I have a sassy dog named Puffy, who is a Bichon Frise, who is actually sleeping, so he should not be making an appearance during this podcast episode. But again, welcome to you if you're brand new. Welcome if you're an OG and you keep rocking with me, even though I be going on these like sabbaticals. Okay, I really, really, really love you for your encouragement and for just sticking with me. If you're new to the show, another thing I should probably point out is the show is called the Genuine Life Podcast for a reason. I find that in a social media heavy world, that it is very difficult sometimes to find authentic and genuine social media influencers, if that's a word you want to use, just social media people. And it is like my mission to just be real, both on this podcast and on all of my social media channels. And so that is why sometimes I go silent, because if I don't have anything to say, I'm not hopping on here and just spitting anything out. I also take my role as someone who encourages others very seriously. And in order to do that, I have to make sure that my cup is full. And so sometimes I just take a break and I come back, and then, everybody just kind of rocks with me. So welcome to the show again if you're new. So back to the meds. So I'm back on medication, which is really cool. And I was finding myself getting very overwhelmed with everything that was going on in social media. I feel like since 2020, we have not had a break. If it's not one thing, it's literally another. If you can't find something to fuss about today, you probably could find something to fuss about tomorrow, right? Like, that's just how it's been for like the past 2 years. And so for me, mentally, it's too much. I can't take it. I can't take it. I have not watched the news in years, and this is embarrassing maybe, but I get my news from the Shade Room. So if it's not on there, I pretty much count it as fake. I am very, very particular about what I ingest mentally. I also am very careful about what I look at visually outside of true crime documentaries that I'm never getting rid of, but you get my drift. So anyway, that's what I've been up to, just kind of chilling, taking some time to myself, thinking of a master plan, never, ever, ever letting this podcast go. I knew that I was going to get behind the mic again. I just didn't know when, and I have to feel the vibes, and the vibes were right. And I decided to come back on August 8th at 8 p.m. So 888 representing just this newness, rebirth, if you, in a sense. And so with that being said, I want to kind of give you my message today. And it's simply to encourage you. If you've listened to the podcast before, this is not going to sound new. It may sound refreshing, but it's not going to be new. If you're new to the show, please know, and the OGs know this already, but I do a lot of freestyling. So, I have a few notes here, but everything that I'm about to say to you is definitely coming from my heart and off the dome, okay? I want to encourage you. You are now living in a time that we have not experienced in our lives ever. And what's actually really unique about this as well is that you can't find too many people who have, right? So it's not even like you can take this and compare it to something else. Or, sure, we've had recessions in the past, or, unfortunate events happen in the past, but I've always felt like there has been some sort of a break between to kind of allow us to regroup and process what we witnessed or saw or heard. And I feel like we have not had time to process anything because as soon as something happens, something else is popping up, right? So first it was COVID. Then it was, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but then we had a gas shortage on the southeast, depending on where you are. Then you have monkeypox. Then you have grocery prices going up. Then you have the big, I forgot what it's called, like the big walkout, like where people were, big resignation. Everyone was leaving their jobs. But then you still have like a host of people who are still looking for work. And then things started to level out a little bit. And then a recession decided to hit. And so now we have people getting laid off. We have hiring freezes, hiring pauses. We don't know what's happening with companies. We don't know what's happening with our finances. How in the world are we going to eat? Gas prices are shooting back up. There's wars going on. There are people being murdered because their fries are too cold. There is a woman who is stressed out over her man who decided to hop in her car and drive 100 miles per hour and kill 6 people. Are you with me? Okay? I'm out of breath. I'm tired, and I still haven't hit. We still have school shootings. We have abortion laws that are, affecting our country right now. We have so much gun laws. We have a big election coming up. We have social media that's taking over. We have content creators that are not, being seen and heard, or whatever the case may be, right? It just call it whatever it is to you. I'm sure if we're all sitting in the 4 corners of the earth, there is something that we're all thinking about, mulling over, concerned about. And so what I want to talk to you about is how to quiet the noise. It is difficult, especially in a time where if you are reliant on social media to engage with your audience or your people, maybe you live in a different country from your parents and your siblings, and so you really rely on social media or FaceTime. Or maybe you're a content creator where people, want to hear from you, want to see you, but you're drained, you're tired, and you don't feel like it. But this is not my case, but there are many people who that's their living, right? Maybe you're a parent, a first-time parent, a parent of multiples, a parent in general, right? And you're so concerned about your children, dropping them off at daycare, dropping them off at school, and you going back to work. Let's talk about that. How many times did we think we were not going to be going back into an office? And yet here we are, having to teach ourselves over again how to socialize, because for 2 years prior to, we didn't have to. These are all things that I know I sound like I'm repeating this, but I need you to hear me because I'm exhausted already talking about everything that we're all dealing with. So I want you to sit in it and realize just how much grace you deserve. Okay? You are going through something that you have never experienced before. You are going through life right now in a way that no one can tell you what's best for you. Only you. Normally, if something happens and, if Susie Q stubbed her toe and she healed from it and she witnesses you stubbing your toe, now you have someone who you can relate to, right? Someone who can talk to you about what to do after you stub your toe. And then you find encouragement in those conversations. But what's really unique about this time is that no one knows what the hell they're doing, right? Like nobody knows. Sure, you got some folks out here who look good. They look good. They make it look good. They're telling you how easy it is. Sign up for this masterclass and I'll help you find your job, or sign up for this masterclass and I'll help you start your business. And you don't know what direction to go in. You just want things to be easier. You want it to pan out. You almost wish things were back before, back to how they were before 2020, right? And I have always been somebody who stressed finding the good in everything. It can be difficult when everything in front of you looks chaotic and crazy and demonic, because that's what it looks like. But you have got to find peace, whatever that looks like for you. You have to find peace. If that means cutting someone off for a little while or forever, if it means staying home for a little while and taking time for yourself to, maybe you're taking a break from socializing and reorganizing yourself and reprioritizing your goals for your future, that's motivating. It is finding a space for you that no one else can invade unless you want them to. There is no time limit on this. And that's the one thing that I have walked away with and learned. I have had to learn to get everything out of my mind and on paper. I have done a whole podcast episode on why journaling is important. If journaling is not for you, that is completely fine. Type it out. Get everything out of your brain and onto some paper. Get a voice note and yell it out, whatever the case may be, but you cannot continue to try to be strong and you not feeling strong, okay? I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm going to keep going. The other day, another one of the symptoms for me in particular when it comes to feeling depressed, feeling anxious, is if something looks overwhelming or if I feel like I can't really attack it in a clear way, I get very overwhelmed and I shut down. I don't do it at all, right? Which obviously is not the best thing to do. And I had talked to a coworker about this, and one of the pieces of advice that she offered was that I take some time, take a step back, and approach things with a very clear mind. And although it sounded very simple, it was like I had never thought of this before. And so, because for me, I want to go from 0 to 100 in 5 minutes, right? If I look at something, for instance, staying on me, my living room and kitchen was just a hot mess. Like I needed it to be cleaned. But every time I came in the house, it was just too overwhelming for me. I was tired from work. I still had to take care of Puffy. I needed to figure out what I was eating. By the time that was done, I was tired, right? And so I just sat down. I pulled up Google Drive, shameless plug, and I literally typed out in no particular order everything that I wanted to get done in the house, with this podcast, with my social media. It's like 2 pages long. I just typed every single thing that has ever ran across my brain, every idea, everything that I wanted to get done, and I typed it out. I printed it out, and then I put at the top, you got this. This is a marathon and not a sprint. And I don't know why that was so profound for me, but it literally took so much pressure off my shoulders to get things done immediately. And I've been taking my time. I'm still working on this list. I took one room at a time, one task at a time, and I physically cross it off the list so that I can look back and say, Jennifer, you did good today. You really did good. Even if it's just one thing off that list that I, X'd out, it's something that I accomplished, and I'm proud of that. And that is what I want to share with you today. You do not have to do everything at once. You don't have to answer people at once. You don't have to respond to anything immediately. You don't have to do anything urgently. I mean, within reason, of course, right? We don't want to not pay our bills, but you get my drift. You don't have to do anything urgent if that's not your vibe. I have been taking my time. There is no limit on, when. I set goals. Like I knew I wanted to have my first podcast episode out by the 8th. That was it. And I stayed committed to myself and I stayed focused on that. And it just alleviates the pressure of, if I don't get this done, now I'm beating myself up, right? Versus, you know what? I'm going to do what I can today and I'm going to celebrate that win. And that's exactly what I did. And I know this is a stressful time for a lot of people. I do not sugarcoat that. I don't want to gloss over it. I don't want you to think for 2 seconds that I don't, recognize that I am not necessarily, quote unquote, stressed out, like some others may be. You're right. We're all different. We're all in different parts of our journey right now. My time, it happened. And I'm not, I still stress out about a lot of things, but I don't stress out to the point where I can't think clearly. And I also don't stress out about anything that I can't control. I control what I can. I control my environment. I control what I watch, what I listen to, who I speak to, who I see, who I hang out with. All of that is regulated and very, very intentional and strategic. Okay? I don't play with my peace, and neither should you. And in the case of like rising grocery prices, start meal prepping. Maybe eating out every day is not the best thing to do right now, if that is a source of your stress. And so really, or, I was about to say, maybe don't get your nails done, but that's a lie. Find time for your nails and toes, okay? I'm kidding. Do whatever you want. It makes you feel better. But I want you to walk away knowing that while you may not be able to control a lot of what's going on around you, you can totally control how you respond to it. And you have the power to create the reality that you want no matter what is going on around you. Okay? That means if the gas prices are high, I still wake up every morning and say, I thank you, Lord, that I'm able to pay for this gas. I thank you that all of my needs are met. And that's how I approach my day, because I know that I'm taken care of. And I want you to start walking in that same confidence. You have absolutely nothing to worry about. Get clear on your goals, set up a plan, and execute. That's it. Everything else does not matter. Don't let anything stress you out. You're too cute for that, okay? You're too cute. We don't want any unnecessary early wrinkles. No, I'm kidding. Y'all, I just had my first gray hair 2 weeks ago, so I feel like I'm full of wisdom right now. Yeah, but anyway, it just makes me sad sometimes when I don't see people happy. Although I understand, but sometimes I just want to shake people. Like, you can do this. You can do hard things. You can do every single thing that you put your mind to. It can get done by you. You can do it. You're totally strong. You've been through worse. And if you haven't been through worse and this is the worst for you, trust me, you'll get through it. You have people around you that you may or may not know that have gone through some pretty hard times. And I'm not just talking financially. I'm talking about there are folks out here that have survived things that you can't even imagine. Okay? So every single time that you feel like you want to stress, another good thing to keep repeating to yourself is that it could be a lot worse. If you still have a roof over your head, if you still have a way in and out of work, and I'm not even talking about having your own car. I'm just saying you have access to transportation to get you to and from work in order to earn an income. Fantastic. You have food on the table. And trust me when I say you have people who love and care about you. That makes you rich. It's not money. Money's great. It's a great tool, right? Sure, we all love to have our bank accounts overflowing. But if that's not the case for you right now, I challenge you to look around, because you are rich. You are rich. You are some beautiful souls out there. Do not let this world corrupt you. It's a dark place out there, but it's our responsibility to be light to others. You know, I feel like I'm talking to myself now because sometimes I be looking at folks like, what is wrong with you? Why are we on the same earth together? But then I have to remind myself that it's a mixture of everyone's experiences that bring them to this place today. So who am I to judge? I don't know what anybody has gone through. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, he made an appearance. And here I am telling y'all not to stress. So I'm not going to stress. I'm going to take a deep breath. Actually, let me take a sip of this water. Let him get this out. We have a dog that lives on the first floor that barks very, very loud. And I live on the third floor. And so Puffy can hear it. And I guess they like to talk to each other. So that's what y'all just heard. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. A couple of things I want you to take with you. Delay is not denial. I know you've heard it before, but I need to say it to you again. Delay is not denial. Just because you don't have it right now does not mean it's not yours. You can still have it. It's okay to still celebrate others while you're waiting. It's okay. Delay is not denial. I want you to stay encouraged, especially those of you who are looking for work. Please, 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 please do not take rejections as a personal diss to you. It's not personal, especially now. If you are out there looking for work right now, keep going. Keep networking. And I talked about this on a podcast episode. Network with the right people. Don't waste your time. Okay? You don't want to be networking with sweet tech recruiters if you want a different, a non-tech role. You want to get with the people who can help you. So get strategic about who you're networking with. Keep applying to roles while celebrating others because you understand what it's like to be where they are. Celebrate them while you're waiting. It's okay. If your finances are feeling a little funny, you'll get through it. I've done it. I'm talking about very, very negative accounts. And I still made it a whole 2 weeks. How? I don't know. But the good Lord above. But I'm telling you, you get very, very resourceful and creative when you need an extra dollar. Okay? So, and I mean, I ain't do nothing crazy now. I wasn't like working the streets. But I got creative, right? I used talents that I didn't even know I had. I was making bracelets. I was working a part-time job. At one point, I was working 3 jobs. And I know somebody may not want to hear that, but sometimes that's what you got to do to get to where you want to be. It's about making sacrifices. And you can still sprinkle in fun in there as well. There's a lot of free things that you can do. Get out and walk in the park. People watch. That is the best entertainment. And it's free. All you got to do is sit outside and watch, folks. Best thing you can do on a Saturday night. And it's even more fun if you want to add a little extra game to it. I like to figure out who's on a first date. So I'm giving you all the hot tips, okay? But I just want you to walk away from this podcast encouraged. You're on your own timeline. Nobody else is clocking your time. You think they are, but folks don't care. They want you to live your very best life. People who really care about you want you to live your best life. Take your time. If there's something that's on your heart that you want to execute, get it down on paper and get it done. No one said it had to be done in a week. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes we can be our own adder of stressors. That makes no sense, but you get my drift. Don't add any more stress. Okay, you can still fulfill your dreams, but fulfill them in your own time so that it feels right, that it feels authentic, and it feels genuine and not stressful. If it's a dream job that you're looking for, do the work. During the slow time when companies have put a pause on hiring, they're still looking for great talent because when this thing picks back up, because it will, this happens all the time, you got to be ready. And I've talked about this too. Y'all better just go back and look at my old podcast episodes because I be dropping knowledge, okay? That much, I may not know everything, but I know a thing or two about recruiting. Oh, speaking of, before I do that, I hope you all got my message today. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but I do care about you, right? I care about your mental health. I've been there. I know what it's like to lay in a bed and not shower for a week. Yes, I just told you that. So now we're best friends. So you got to stick around. But I know what that's like. And I'm telling you, there's more to life. There's way more to life. There's so much more to life. So do not become inundated by the news, by negative social media posts, by people who make you feel less than. Create your own environment. Make it to where you are thriving no matter what is going on around you. That's my task for you today. Okay? And speaking of conquering fears and whatnot, I'm going live, y'all. Listen here. Your girl done went viral. Okay? Now, I've kind of low-key went viral before. It was like a little viral, like a mini V. When I was trying to buy those fake Yeezys and Walmart sent me some baby shoes. Yeah. But this is like real viral. Like one of my videos has seen 100,000 views. And it blew my mind. People obviously are very fascinated about Google, recruiting, tech life. It's a big thing right now. You all know I'm extremely passionate about helping people around that, but it's absolutely impossible for me to answer all of these questions on DMs, on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. And a lot of the questions are the same. And so I figured it'd be a really good opportunity for me, not only to get to know you, but for you to get to know me, learn a little bit more about my story, how I got into Google. And, you know, I'm going to say it again on live. If you decide to join my lives, I'm going live on Thursday on TikTok, live on Friday with Instagram. Feel free to come to both. These are free. I am taking time out of my schedule to do this. So donations obviously are totally will be totally accepted. And you know, obviously it's what's on your heart. I'm not asking for this. I'm doing it because I want to, but you will have an option to donate if that's something that you're interested in doing. But you know, I'm taking time out of my day to do this because I know there are a lot of people who genuinely have really good questions. And I want to help, you know, in the best way that I can. And so if you decide to join one or both of those lives, please know a few things. I cannot talk about anything directly related to getting into Google, your application in particular, or any kind of like confidential information. I could totally share my experience into getting into Google. I can share exactly what I tell my clients and candidates that I work with. I will be sharing those interview tips and just tips in general around your resume with you. I will also be answering your questions personally as well. So it should be a good time. It's my first time going live, so please don't let this flop. But even if one or two of you show up, I'm fine with that as well. That's just more time for us to chat. But I'm really looking forward to meeting you, and I'm nervous. I've never gone live before. I've never gone live because I just feel like, oh my gosh, if I hit this live button and nobody shows up, I could just post a story, you know? But I feel like now I can do this, and I'm just going to just do it. And whoever shows up, shows up. I think I'm going to stay on live for about an hour and a half, depending on how many people show up. So get your friends, tell your family. I know somebody has questions, so I will be there. And depending on how it's flowing, you know, I'm not really putting in time. If, you know, a lot of people are there, we'll sit and chat, kick it. So bring your drinks, bring your snacks. Let's talk it out. And let's get some plans in place. And it could talk, you know, we don't have to talk just about recruiting. If you just have questions in general about anything, advice or me or whatever you need. Y'all know I've moved 5 or 6 times. I've lived in different places. So if that's something that's on your heart to ask me a question about, I'll be there live. So again, TikTok, I'll be live at 7:30 p.m. Friday on the 12th, I'll be live on Instagram at 7:30 p.m., both Eastern Standard Time. You're more than welcome to join me. In fact, I hope you do. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you next week because we back, baby. Uh, so next week, I will be chatting with you about forgiveness. So I hope to join you, or, well, I will be there. I hope you join me. And let's talk about a topic that I think is very difficult to digest sometimes, but it is like a good dose of medicine. It works. So let's chat about it. We're going to be talking about forgiveness. But until then, I hope you stay encouraged. I hope you maintain your peace. I encourage you to find whatever it is that will keep you encouraged and keep a smile on that beautiful face. And I cannot wait to see you here next week, but I hope to see you on one of my lives on Thursday or Friday or both. If you're not doing anything, just come hang out with me. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you soon. And keep living genuine.